Right, we're going to try and show you today how I do a straight E custom tip on the hand lathe. I've just drilled out this blank to a 5mm diameter, which is what's needed to put the little drip tip insert into so it goes on your tank. Let me just take the drill bit off, and what I'm going to do is just wind that back a little bit, and I'm just going to put my centre in. So my centre's in. I'm just going to bring the tool rest in, freewheel it, check nothing is knocking, and I'm good to go ish. Now a lot of people ask me what is hand turning. Now hand turning, this is a wood lathe. If I was going to make a straight tip on a metal lathe, I would do the same process, drill it, this, that and the other, and I would just wind a wheel to basically make it straight. I find it much more fun to use a hand tool. You've got much more control over it, and it's all by eye, by sight, by all that sort of stuff. You have to be careful with the material. You don't want to ram your tool in too far and it will go tits. Basically this one is going to be a 10mm tip, long, 10mm tip wide. I gauge it up to start with a simple ruler, and I'll get a rough gauge of where I need to be for 10mm. And what I'm going to do is gradually take some material away from there, because I've got to allow enough for my tool to get in to turn it. That's what I'm going to do now. So basically just a rough eye, to be honest with you, and I'll allow over the 10mm. So that is about 15mm now, and I'm going to take it down by eye with this tool here to around about a 10mm centre. And now I've got to gradually ease some material out, probably about 5-6mm back from the point. Basically what that does is give me room for the tool to get in here to take that down. I'm now gradually going to start working that down with the hand tool, gauge it by eye again for 10mm, and then I'll go back in for a measurement when I think I'm round about there. It's quite hard making straight tips by hand. It's far easier to make, you know, the curved tips, because the straight tip, when you're using a metal lathe, you're just turning a wheel. With this, it's very much dependent on the pressure you're putting on the material, the evenness of your rest and all that sort of stuff. So it's quite hard getting a straight tip on a hand lathe. And this material is a right git. I know it may look dangerous, me putting my hand in a spinning thing, but I've been doing this for many years now, and I know I've got to be safe, but I also know the limits of the stuff I'm working with. I'm going to whittle this down, and I'll come back when I'm round about to the 10mm mark. It takes a while. Alright, I think I'm sort of there. I'm just going to have a measure across the diameter, and I've got about 10.5 mil on there, and at this point I'll stop turning. It's I'll just show you. Way, it's not going to focus, is it? Focus. So I think I've got 10.5 mil. It's looking relatively straight, and now what I'm going to do is start the process of finishing. First thing I've got to do is hoover up all the mess, and then we'll go on to a little finishing thing. Be back in 2. Right, so I've got me tip down to, like I said, about 10.5 mil. Just putting a bit of water on there. And what I need to do now, I'm going to start with the various sandpapers. So we use a sandpaper to start with, just to take down that, make sure it's, you know, all the imperfections are taken out. What I'm going to do then is work through lots of grades of this stuff, micro mesh, and there are, I think, 12 grades, going from a 1500 right the way through to a 12,000 grit. Basically taking this to a mirror shine using just that and water, nothing else. I'm going to start with some sandpaper. And this first one really is just to make sure it's all the little turning marks are taken out and that it is straight. And the only way I can sort of gauge whether it's straight is by feel. I don't put a set screw on it or anything like that. If it's straight, I can feel it straight, if you get me. Just the way it is. And again, with the first sand, what I'll do is just have another quick measure just to see how close we're getting to that 10 mil. That already, that first sand has taken off quite a bit, and we are rapidly approaching 10 mil diameter, which I'm happy with because it's quite even by feel. What I'm going to do now is work my way through the micro meshes, and I'll come back in 2 when we're sort of polished up, because this bit takes a bloody long time. Back in 2. So this is the first, if you like, pass of finishing, which has given it a nice little sheen. It's at 10 mil now after the polishing, which again is all by eye. So what I've got to do now is cut this bad boy off. So I need to bring back in my tool rest, and again, although a lot of it is going to be done by measuring, a lot of it is also done by eye. So I'm going to start this spinning, and I'm going to rough up 10 mil to start with. That noise you can hear is the measure hitting the again, it's all literally roughing, but I'm coming ever so slightly on that. Again, tiny bit more. Okay, and I'm happy with that as 10 mil. So what I'm going to do now is cut this off effectively. And you can see there's quite a lot of waste in terms of. Now as I'm coming down to the centre, I just want to get a bit of control over the tip, kill the lathe, and back that away. and we have a where are you? A tiny little tip, and I'll see if we can show you on here. Da-da-da. We'll try. Pretty much exactly 10mm in diameter, and on there 10mm in height. What I need to do now is fix the insert and go away and finish the top, because the bottom is almost finished during that process. So that's roughly how it's done. I'll show you how we do shapes at some point. Shapes, to be honest, are easier on the hand lathe than they are on a metal lathe. Straight tips far easier on a CNC or a metal lathe than they are on this. There we go. Hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see anything, let me know and we'll do our best to film it for you.